With this season now in the final 5 episodes, there really is not much left to say. All the training, mysteries, investigations, and fights have led up to this one mission. Bring Kawashita and this long nightmare for so many to an end. This episode can be summarized to be the calm for the first half and the storm for the second, and from here on out, we're traversing the storm to the end. A lot of matchups on the horizon, and each one is gonna be better than the last. Content coverage wise, chapters 66, 67, and the very early bits of chapter 68 were adapted, leaving us on a cliffhanger with conflict now in motion. As far as anime only editions go, they are mainly in the first half of the episode, and it pretty much comes down to character presence. Anybody who is not of the Yozakura family were added into this episode. Given that this upcoming mission is a giant collaborative effort, it makes sense to present a form of uniformity given those who are lending a hand. There were a lot of extra shenanigans presented, from the omelet and Kyoichiro being Kyoichiro, but in the end, all is well when it comes to a banquet. Now, for those who don't know, a Yozakura is a nighttime cherry blossom viewing, which is a very common cultural event in Japan during spring. As such, you can see how this is the author taking a literal approach to the family name. That very tree also having a bit of lore with the bloomings, which helps heal the mind and body leading up to any major conflicts. This part was actually presented by Keiko rather than Mutsumi, and given her old age and wisdom, I can understand the swap given she's been around for quite some time. Now, of course, the highlights of the episode can be considered to be two things this week, with the first being the conversation with Kyoichiro and Taiyo. I know people probably have the most odd understanding of his character, but the conversation that took place today showed just how much of a burden he holds inside as the eldest son. He brings Taiyo to the location of a grave, which would be mom's if her body was present. We never really got solid proof as to what actually happened to her body beyond the fire, but to produce Yozakura, you do need some type of source, which can only mean one thing. Momo most likely salvaged her body, and in that, the Tompopo has been using it to fuel their progress. I'm sure if you remember the quick glimpse of somebody frozen from the OP now, it's all beginning to click. Kawashita continues to deliver the twistedness, and I question just what exactly could Momo be thinking to let his own wife's body be used like this. Like I said, for each reveal, you just leave with another question. What comes next is a mission that is privately bestowed upon Taiyo beyond the core objectives, and that's to bring Rei Yozakura's body back and to lay her to rest in the place she was born. As an outsider, Taiyo is the one person Kyoichiro can trust to get this done without adding any more weight onto the siblings' shoulders, and once again puts a little respect on his ability to be suited for such a task. Compared to the beginning, he's come a long way, and Kyoichiro recognizes that clearly, and so beyond the final battle, make sure to keep this objective in mind leading up to the finale. The second highlight, which sure surprised me, was the extension to Shion's performance, also sung by the VA. The character animation was perfect, and this is something I really wish the anime would have more of throughout the episodes. If you're gonna change stuff, you may as well get creative and double down on those smaller moments and make something much more of it. A really cool extension that caught many people's attention this week, and I gotta say, the anime really has made me come around to Shion more. Perhaps I owe her an apology. All in all, good vibes for the crew, putting forth the final revisions of the plan and locking in for the front lines. This type of energy is also upheld by the Tompopo as well, and despite their wrongdoings, you can clearly see that they're also a dysfunctional family too. In a way, it kinda reminds me of the League of Villains. With all that being said, there truly is nothing else left to say, as come the following morning, we get to see the kickoff spread animated, concluding chapter 66. Pretty one-to-one here, and from here on out, the mission has officially kicked off. From the family's arrival, we split up into two teams. The ground team going for more physical altercations, while the reconnaissance team takes care of not only Mutsumi's safety, but delivering data and such to those on the ground. If you happen to be worried about Shion or Bon not getting some screen time, don't be, and stay tuned for their respective moments. Right out the gate, there is no time wasted as the brothers make their way inside, and Futaba ends up being first to arrive at her matchup. Akai, being a flame user, is a perfect opponent for Futaba, given her ability to dispel them, and as such, the two begin to square off leading into next week. From here on out, expect a similar formula to come, where each family member will take on an opponent based on their strengths, and of course, those destined to fight each other will meet once more. Overall, this was another solid episode, with the banquet pretty much being the majority of the episode and the front lines being embraced towards the end. If you enjoy the comedy and slice of life aspects of this series, I can imagine this week is probably going to be your favorite one yet, and hopefully come the next few episodes, it only gets more enjoyable from here. I've got a lot of expectations going into the coming weeks, and hopefully the Yozakura staff manages to hit the nail on the head for each major moment. With that, ladies and gentlemen, is gonna bring me to the end of this week's review. As always, thank you very much for watching, and make sure to let me know all your thoughts about today's episode in the comments section down below. Be safe out there until the next episode.